Paint Girl handles all makes, models, lease return repairs, and insurance claims. Your smart choice for vehicle repair, the Paint Girl. Call 954-691-7024. That's 954-691-7024.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Are you ready? It is your time to take a few moments from your busy day to unwind, be inspired, and listen to the psychic insights of your host, empowerment psychic, Hallie Elise, a top 100 psychic, speaker, and author. Off air, be sure to connect with Hallie at HallieElise.com. And now, the Hallie Elise Show.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for tuning in, whether you're on Facebook or you're listening in your car or via your iPad or whatever the device is. It's always nice to have you here. You know, it was interesting. I was thinking about this evening's show, and what popped into mind was something that I had a response on, which I thought was really interesting. I don't recall if it was on LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter. It was one of the social media sites. I had made mention about that my heart and my prayers go out to the folks who've been affected by this most recent shooting at a school. And really and truly, there are only so many words you can use. You can say that you're sorry. You can say that you give your condolences. You can say that this should have never happened. There are lots of things you can say. Though, what is it that you can truly do? Prayer is one of those things. Sending good thoughts, holding somebody in your heart, I believe truly is elevating. And that's on an emotional end. On an energetic end, anytime we meditate, anytime we have prayer, it's lifting. It meaning that energy itself has a healing to it. So those who are affected actually can feel a difference. That doesn't mean that they're immediately going to let go of their grief. Doesn't that mean that they're going to immediately let go of their anger. It means that it gives them a beat. It gives them a pause where they can breathe a little. And I truly believe that when we hold somebody in our heart, when we give a prayer for someone who's been injured or harmed in some way, that it makes a difference. The response I had received was something to the effect of, that's not going to help anything. It's not going to do anything for those children who are dead. Why bother? And I thought, wow, I never want to be that cynical. I never want to get to that point where I have no faith and no belief. Again, is it sad? Is it hellacious? The things that have happened, they have. And if you recall, unfortunately, I had predicted at the tail end of last year and possibly the beginning of this year that there were more of these types of incidents that were happening. And it wasn't because I had joy in that. It was because that's what I was feeling was coming in. And the reason I shared it was because I wanted people to be prepared to have conversations. And if you look at some of the shows, you'll find that often I talk about these types of things because it has to do with our world community. It's not just local to the Boca Raton area. And the things that I discuss typically have to do with everyone. If you have a child in school, whether it's kindergarten or it's high school or it's a university, talk with them. Make sure they have some safeguards in place. Make sure they have an awareness. Make sure they're more conscious. Is that an absolute that everything will be perfect? No, though it makes sense. In the same way that we teach defense mechanisms through martial arts or through other arenas for self-protection, a big aspect is awareness. A big aspect has to do with not being in fear, but being proactive. Please keep in mind, if you see me post something, if you see me on air sharing information, this is because I truly believe with all my heart that we're supposed to take care of one another. We are supposed to look after each other. We are supposed to make a difference. That's part of why we are here. It is not just to live a life and leave a legacy of money or leave a legacy of what it was that we did. There's that old saying about it is not the things that we do, it is not the things that are seen, but it is the things that we feel, the way people make us feel, that leaves an imprint on us. That is true with our actions towards others. That is true with our words towards others. Never think that a kindness does not get noticed. It's not true. It may not be acknowledged in that exact moment, but it does make a difference. It does elevate the soul. It does raise the emotional state of mind. If you are in an area where, and right down the street from us, and you've heard me mention this before as far as the school in Parkland, and actually just last week when Tina Valent was on and we talked about the butterfly release, it was all about mental health. And I really vehemently feel so strongly about this, that we need to be aware of what is going on around us. You see someone there a little off, pay attention to that. If you want to help, then reach out and help. If you just want to make those around you aware, then share that awareness. Just don't go walking oblivious. Don't let your children walk oblivious. It's important that we have an awareness. Still, the United States is one of the safest countries in our world. We may not feel that way with all of the atrocities that seem to be taking place. And yet, if we look at many other countries, not specifically from independent shooters, but for other reasons, for political upheaval because of differences in cultures and religions and what have you, there is a lot of insanity that runs through our world. The U.S. overall is still pretty sane. And I'm not going to get into political beliefs, and I'm not going to get into what we can make better in this moment. What I'm saying is make ourselves better. Look at yourself. Look at your children. Look at the people that are in your life. Can you lend an ear? Can you share some wisdom? Can you say some kind words? All of these things are very doable. Now, I really didn't have the intention to get on and go into this whole dissertation and stand on my soapbox. And I find of late I do that quite often, but it's because of late I see these things that truly make me cry. Since I was little, and you could ask my mom about this, I have had a hard time understanding why people aren't nice to each other. Now, you could say that's naivete, if you like, though I don't believe it is. I believe that if we come from a heart space, we are kind to one another. We don't have to like each other, but we should love each other, which means love a person, love that being that is there. You don't have to accept their indifferences. You don't have to accept rude comments. You don't have to be a victim. But again, kindness, compassion, coming from your heart, it goes a long way. All right, I have that out there. It rubbed me so wrong when I saw this post because I couldn't even fathom that someone would respond that way. We have to do whatever it is we can do. Some people throw money at a situation because they can. Some people are able to pick up and go whenever the need calls them. Some people have medical skills or psychological skills, whatever it is that you have that you can help with, use. I had shared several months ago about being privy to an accident, and my child was in town, and she ran off as the paramedic to look at the person on the street, and I took the person on the side of the road who actually caused the accident and sat with them and had them do breathing and had them get calm. I didn't have to do that. I could have gone along my merry way and gone shopping, which was the intention that day. But really and truly, that's not where my head went. And not everybody has to be me, so please don't take it that way. It is simply a matter of, if you have an opportunity to be kind, be kind. Even if you don't like the person, don't think in terms of being right or wrong. Think in terms of kindness. Think in terms of, this is another living, breathing person. You don't know what's going on in their head. You don't know what's going on in their life. Perhaps reflect back on the self. And I think that's where the premise is this evening. As individuals, how often do we go into reflection? We talk often about mindfulness and contemplation, meditation, breath work, all these things that help us de-stress, depressurize, things that help us get centered and grounded, things that will help us have more mental acuity and a better day and better work and manifest in bigger ways. And all of this is wonderful. Though it should start with you. The more you like yourself, the easier it is to like everyone else. The more you see good in our world, the more you will see good in your world. It's a universal law. It's not something that you could say, oh, I did that all the time and it doesn't happen. It's not true. But you also have to let things go. If you continue to hold ill will towards someone or something, it doesn't harm them. It harms you. You're the one who is going through that process. You're the one that does not allow yourself to move forward. Be gentle with you. Be kind to you. As much as I'm suggesting we do this for others, I am suggesting we do this for ourselves. Check in with yourself. It was fascinating. I had spoken about something in a class, I think it was last Tuesday, and the following day, somebody posted something on social media that was absolutely brilliant and so in alignment with what I was talking about. And it had to do with the fact that we focus on singular instead of the whole. What we miss, though, is when we focus on the self from an egomaniac standpoint or from a self-serving standpoint, we then cut off everyone else. Yet when we focus on ourselves from the point of, I'm choosing to be a better human being, I'm choosing to be happier, I'm choosing to make my world different, then we affect everyone around us, and they in turn have an effect on us. And it may sound like mumbo jumbo to many people, but I've got to tell you, I've been doing this since I was a kid, and I forget because of the fact that I think, oh, yeah, the stuff I dreamed up or perhaps I imagined. And I have people come back to me 20, 30 years later going, don't you remember when? And at this point, it's almost 40. I spoke with a friend from kindergarten the other day. Can you imagine kindergarten? Yes, we're still friends. And things were brought up, and I thought, wow, I hadn't thought about that in a long time. Hadn't even remembered that, meaning that for me, for as long as I can remember, it's been about how am I interacting with my world? And like many people, and this is personal, but I'm going to share because it may help somebody. Initially, there was that view of the self not being good enough, not being capable enough, not being as good as the person next to me. I had a conversation with someone yesterday about this. It was cute. And they were saying that, oh, well, you have to be good to you. And I started to get a lecture and I had to laugh. I said, no, you're misunderstanding. It was not that I wasn't acknowledging myself. It was that I was acknowledging myself, but putting limitations. And we have to recognize that whatever it is that we're sharing in our world that's good, we have the ability to be better and bigger, greater than what we imagine. In general, we tend to hold ourselves back because we compare ourselves to other people. We compare ourselves to the neighbors because they have more money, or we compare ourselves to that Olympian who could catapult themselves off of poles and we can't even do the monkey bars. We really need to stop comparing. We just need to look at ourselves and ask ourselves, are we happy within? And if not, start working towards that and recognize the good that we do have, again, can be greater than we can imagine. We're going to take a little break and we'll be back with the Hallie Elise Show. And if you'd like, call in for your psychic reading this evening. It's 888-565-1470. Once again, that's 888-565-1470.
This is Alyssa, the paint girl. Car accidents happen. Get the most affordable, convenient, superior vehicle repair with concierge service. The Paint Girl provides pickup and delivery with no additional cost. Our body shops have over 30 years combined experience. The Paint Girl handles all makes, models, lease return repairs, and insurance claims. Your smart choice for vehicle repair, The Paint Girl. Call 954-691-7024. That's 954-691-7024.
This is your empowerment psychic, Hallie Elise, one of the top 100 psychics in America. For over 30 years, I have offered psychic readings, programs, spiritual guidance, and other life skill techniques. As our lives have become more complicated, we often reach for answers. Who are we? Where are we headed? Are we pointed in the right direction? In addition, we often are concerned for our loved ones. I have helped thousands of people navigate their life circumstances through different modalities of spiritual and intuitive guidance. Call me at 561-755-2166 and allow me to further explain how I may assist you in clearing the path of yesterday so today and tomorrow will be a success. Call me at 561-755-2166 or visit my site, HalleyElise.com. That's HalleyElise.com.
You have been listening to empowerment psychic Hallie Elise, a top 100 psychic. She is your connection to all things spiritual, psychic, and empowering. Your guide to peace and wisdom. For a private appointment off air, call 561-755-2166. Now, back to the Hallie Elise Show with empowerment psychic Hallie Elise.
Welcome back. If you are just joining me this evening, I was talking about coming from a heart space and checking in with yourself and really paying attention to if you are kind to you and you're kind to others, your world has a flow to it. And that's a perfect segue because the lady I have on the phone is my lovely sponsor, Alyssa Smith, who is the Paint Girl. And you hear me talk about her all the time and her services. You'll have an opportunity this evening to hear from her. And one of the reasons that I love the fact that she's a sponsor of the Hallie Elise Show is that she comes from that heart space that we're talking about. It is important to her to have customers that are happy. And it's not just, it's a job. She genuinely has an interest in doing the job right. So without further ado, Alyssa, you're there, yes?
I am. Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
Great. I don't know how much you caught earlier because I know Kenny had you on the phone for a little bit, but it was interesting because I had started out this evening's show talking about the atrocities that have happened at the schools and the fact that people get so angry and they're so hurt and they don't know what to do. And I had posted something talking about just maintaining that heart space and sending prayers. And somebody's response was really unkind about how prayers don't matter to the dead and how, sending love doesn't matter to the dead. And I thought, wow, you talk about getting to a point where there's no more faith, no more belief. Now, you have children. Obviously, this concerns you as a parent. By the same token, don't you share with your children to be aware and also have, I'll say, some sort of idea as to how to respond within themselves, to look around, to be conscious?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Just we live in...
Do unto others as you would want done to yourself. Absolutely.
Exactly. It's funny how the old adages and Bible verses and all of those things seem to really come into play in our world today. And that brings me to your business because it's kind of funny. I say the Paint Girl and people think, oh, artist. And we haven't talked about that, you and I, a little bit. But your artistic endeavor is to make people happy after their cars don't look so good and their paint and their bodies are not so wonderful. Can you tell us a little bit about that, please?
Yes. So basically what I do is I try to make your life a little bit easier if you've been in an accident, whether it's just a small little fender bender or, as big as an insurance job where, there's parts that need replaced, a
Right.
major crash incident. I want to make your life a little bit easier for that because it is, when that happens, it kind of
Stressful.
takes over your life. You're
Absolutely.
calling your insurance or you have to find a shop. You want to go to somebody that you trust is, what's my car's going to look like. You need to take time off from work for this. And
Yes.
I want to try to make that all go away. And the way I do that is I offer pickup and deliver services at no additional cost. So I try to operate
That's
on
awesome.
like a concierge style
Right.
to try and take some of that away from my customers. So, if they're busy, they have to go to work, I'll come to your job and pick up the car. Or if you're at home or we can meet, I can come get it in the mornings before you leave for work or, after you drop the kids off at school. Let me take that away from you. I'll get the car to my shop. I'll get the work done. I'll bring it back to you. You barely have to do anything except pick up the phone and call me. Let me handle it for you. And it's because I care, just as you've been talking about.
Right.
I care about people and I care, I want to make them happy. I want to make their life a little bit easier in this way. And
Of course.
we know that having an accident, it's hard, it's tough, it's stressful. Let me try to ease that stress a little bit if I can do that for people.
Now, I would think, since this is your business, you have all those licenses and insurances and bonding and whatever it is that you need to do to be able to pick up the vehicle and take it back, correct?
Absolutely. Yep, I sure do. I
Okay.
certainly do. I have to have liability insurance. I have to have transporter tags. I have to have all of that to be able to operate the way that I do. Absolutely.
And you also have more than one shop where the work is done, correct?
That's correct. So I try to accommodate you depending on where you live. I do have a location in North Miami, and I have 2 locations in Hollywood. So I do try to accommodate, depending on where you live. That,
Sure.
it's a little more convenient for you. And then again, that's where that pickup and delivery. I've gone as far as Pinecrest in Miami. I mean, it took me an hour or something to get to his house to pick up his vehicle.
Right.
I went and picked it up, and I dropped it back off when it was done. So I've gone pretty far.
I think it comes down to, as we've been talking about, you care about other people, and it's not just business for you. You actually want to see the car's body look the best that it can look when you're returning it to your customer. It's not just, slap something on there and make it passable. It's more a matter of let's do the right thing.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll be the first one to tell you if I feel there's another way of getting around it, meaning there's other avenues you can go in the car industry that, let's say you have a dent on your door,
Right.
but maybe it didn't scratch the paint. It just dented. If I feel there's another section of fixing damaged cars, and it's called PDR, which stands for paintless dent removal.
Got
And
it.
they're a little bit cheaper than what a body shop is because it's less. They have a special tool that when there's a dent in the car, they can kind of pop the dent
Pop it out.
It's a little less inexpensive, and then you don't have to put paint on the vehicle. So I'm the type of person that's very honest. I don't want you for this one job. I want you for life. I want you
Right.
to always want to come to me and say, Alyssa, this is what happened to my car. Can you help me? Even if it's not body, maybe I can help you with interior stuff. Maybe I can help you with window tinting. I'll try to help you in any way I can.
See, that's
So
a new
my
dimension. I
goal-
didn't know that you did that as far as the interior. I thought it was just strictly exterior.
Well, it is, but I know the right people. So
Right.
I want to build a reputation and a clientele that I want to, come to me. If something's wrong with your car, come to me. Because let's say even if my guys can't do it, I
Right.
can probably point you in the right direction to where it can be
course.
done. And I can even assist you with that service if you need me to. So, I want people to say, you know what, this girl is, she's out here. She's not just trying to get us for this one job. I want to
Exactly.
build a relationship that lasts a lifetime. And I want you to tell your friends, like, hey, you know what, this girl's really nice. I had damage on my car. She was able to fix the bumper. She saved me some money on the door because she used PDR.
Right.
And, you know, instead of just trying to say, oh, yeah, it's
just selling.
Right. You know, just right. It's
right.
Not
it's just not
that.
just about the sale. It's about, as you said, relationships. And it brings me back to what I was saying as far as heart space. You're not just doing it for the money. You're doing it for the long-term relationship and because you care about people. And again, if you are being kind to others, they're going to be kind in turn. You may help somebody with their vehicle and they may think about you when an opportunity comes along. We just never know how life is going to direct us when we are in that flow of energy. What is your phone number where people can reach you, Alyssa?
I can be reached at 954-691-7024.
Okay, I'm going to repeat that just to make sure anybody's getting a pen. They have a chance to write it down.
Absolutely. It's 954-691-7024.
Excellent. And your website is paintgirlauto.com, yes?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, so I'll repeat that as well. It's paintgirlauto.com. And oftentimes you will find that Alyssa is the one you're speaking to right off the bat versus a voicemail, unless, of course, she's out and about picking up a car or on a lot talking to a dealer or any number of places that you end up with the vehicles.
Yes, that's true. No, that number I gave is my direct line, so they will contact me directly. And yes, if I don't answer right away, please leave a message or even text, and I'll get right back with them.
Well, I'm going to put you on the spot for a little bit since you're calling in this evening for the show. What can we do for folks that might be an incentive as far as them picking up the phone today or this week? So, for instance, if somebody's had that little fender bender that we don't usually pay too much attention to, and it's been sitting for the last 6 months, and you'd like to help them, is there anything special you might be able to do for them?
Yeah, absolutely. If they did call me today or sometime this week, I could offer them a 15% discount.
Awesome. I was thinking 10. You said 15. That's great. Alyssa, thank you so much for calling in. And remember, everyone, paintgirlauto.com, Alyssa Smith. She really will do her best to help you with your vehicle. She comes from that heart space. And if you call this week, she'll take 15% off. That's pretty amazing. Thanks for sponsoring the show. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate you. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in this evening to the Hallie Elise Show. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Remember to tune in every Tuesday on WNN at 9 p.m. for more peace, inspiration, and psychic phenomena with empowerment psychic Hallie Elise, Top 100 Psychic.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of Wake Up America with Kristina Lynn. I'm your host, and I'm here tonight, as always, to help you open your eyes and see the truth. Many things have changed in our world, and this is a show where you're going to get to talk to some of the experts. You're going to get to hear from people that are on the cutting edge. You're going to get to see the things that are really going on that maybe you don't get to hear every day on the news. This is the show that's going to bring it to you right away. So stay tuned because we have got an amazing guest tonight, someone that you will not believe is going to knock your socks off. Wake Up America starts right now. Okay, welcome to another edition of Wake Up America with Kristina Lynn. And I'm your host, Kristina Lynn. We are here today with one of my favorite people and one of my other fellow favorite conscious radio broadcasters. We are broadcasters who really honestly look for the truth and support that. And I know Tim knows that's something that I've done for a long time with great passion, and he does as well. So, Tim Ray, it is awesome to have you on the show.
Well, thank you very much. I'm going to share this right now on Facebook so everybody could see that and appreciate that. So, look how nice it looks on there, too.
Oh, it looks great.
Right?
Oh,
so
my gosh.
Here we go.
We got to do that more often.
I know, right?
Love it.
So, thank you, Kristina. I'd love to be on your show, and I've been waiting to be on your show for a long time, and I made it, and I feel very blessed.
Oh, well, I'm blessed to also have you here today and our audience. Okay, audience, you are in for some exciting things because Tim has got his fingers in a lot of pies. And we're going to talk about some of the most important ones. They're all important, but exactly, we're going to talk about quite a few of them today. Okay, let's start off with United Intentions Foundation, which I am such a big supporter of because having been a longtime student of the law of attraction and the law of positive intentions and positive intent, this is how I live my life, and I'm constantly a student. So I want to hear more. Tell our audience, too, what exactly is United Intentions Foundation, and what are your goals with it?
Well, thank you. And United Intentions Foundation is simply an idea that I had years ago that's been kind of building up, and I needed an outlet to express my understanding and my beliefs in a form that I thought that would be specifically for myself. But as an entrepreneur, I'm like, well, I need to express this and share this more so with people. And why not, make this a reality come true for myself and for others. And it's all about waking people up to the power of intentions. And we all have, and intentions are just interesting, concept. Not a lot of people have different definitions of it, like a driven purpose.
Now, let's talk about that. So some of the folks that are listening, that this may be new.
Yeah.
They may say, wow, what are they talking about? How do I do an intention? What is an intention? So how would you answer that for a beginner?
Well, I like for a beginner, I like to use the word, it's a knowing that hasn't happened yet.
Oh, I like that.
A knowing that hasn't happened yet. What does that mean? So our belief system, I believe, and learn to believe, and I'm not the only one. I think most quantum physicists would agree with me.
Yes.
And if you've seen The Secret and you've seen what they talk about, how the matrix works and the matter and energy, how it all interacts and works, that you'd probably make more sense. But a knowing that hasn't happened yet is a true knowing, a true intent. Your conscious and your subconscious belief on an intention that this will happen comes first, and then the universe brings that into manifestation. That's overall concept of it. So when you have a knowing that hasn't happened yet, it's just a matter of time before that knowing appears in your life.
It can be said that it's in spiritual escrow waiting for you.
Oh, look at she's getting down and dirty now. Spiritual escrow.
Yeah, I borrowed that one from Esther, from Abraham. Esther's amazing. Esther Hicks, of course, I've been a long-time student of Esther's. And I also recommend an amazing book, too, by Lynn Grabhorn, the late Lynn Grabhorn, who was one of my great teachers from the early 2000s. Around 2000, I started reading her book, which was a multi-million, and is still a multi-million seller, that's called "Excuse Me, Your Life is Waiting." And yeah, it's awesome. It is so cool. Just the title alone, I recommend that to everybody if they haven't read it yet. But what's so cool also is that one thing I learned from The Secret, and also so much from Esther, is that it's also important to be in that feeling place. And she said, whenever you believe something and expect it.
Yes.
Expect it to show up, believe it, it's going to happen.
Yeah, I find,
right?
it seemed like The Secret left out part of The Secret, in my opinion, left out the subconscious aspect of it all, because it's easy to say, you believe it and you believe it. As long as you believe it, and then it's going to appear in your life. I mean, that sounds, it's part of the manifestation process, part of the law of attraction.
Right.
But what a lot of people, I think, don't take into account is that our subconscious mind is 30,000 times more powerful than our conscious mind. We only use 5% of our brain consciously. It's 95% subconscious. So who's running the show here? The subconscious.
Right.
So if our subconscious is not in sync with what our conscious mind, what we want to manifest, then it's not going to happen because we're not in charge in that sense. So, that's why we, in our site at unitedintentions.org, we like to teach people and slow them down a little bit to focus on one intention. And when you can sync that intention of your subconscious intention with your conscious intention, you're more likely to see the manifestation of it. Now, like for example, if you want a Bugatti, you deserve to have a Bugatti, don't you?
Sure,
all your hard work that you've done all your life, right?
That would be fun,
right? But if your conscious mind saying, "Well, I deserve a Bugatti. I'm going to manifest a Bugatti," but your subconscious mind.
Could I have a Tesla instead?
All right, Tesla. There you go.
Whatever. Okay, great. I'll take it.
I'll take the Tesla. Where's my Tesla, little dummy? We got to bring him over here.
I'll take a convertible. I'll take a convertible.
Okay, convertible. There you go. Your conscious mind is saying, yes, I want to have this, right? But your subconscious mind is saying, well, are you kidding me, Kristina? You don't deserve that. You're not going to get that. You don't have the money for that. You don't have the time for that. Whatever it may be saying. So here it is. This more powerful part of your manifestation process is saying the opposite of what your conscious is saying.
So how do we sync that?
$1 million
awesome.
question there.
Yes.
Well, first of all, I'd recommend to read books like Dr. Joseph Dispenza, Dr. Bruce Lipton, who talk about creating a state of being where you can start syncing that into that. One of the things, the easiest thing to do, really, and it's free, go to our site, unitedintentions.org.
Yeah.
And where you learn and experiment with the law of attraction by creating, tracking, and manifesting intention. So it's three principles which we like to promote as much as possible. And Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about it. It's repetition, expectancy, and meaning. When you can put those three together in one, and you have this kind of perfect storm that where and everything created this way. In fact, that's how we create everything. Our state of mind. We create all the horrible things and all the great things through these three techniques. For example, and let me just focus on, give you a little example if you really want to know. Something negative, usually people are more likely, out of our 70,000 thoughts a day, the majority of them are repetitive negative. So we're used to negative. We're used to creating bad things in our life. We're used to manifesting that, right?
That can happen.
It's a common
things that
experience.
we're fearful of, like, oh no, I don't want anybody to bump my car in the parking lot.
Boom, you just put it out there in the universe, right? So here, like an ulcer, like what creates an ulcer? We all know our thinking creates stress, worry creates ulcers, right? For the most part. Now, the actual thinking or the negative thinking, stinking thinking, doesn't actually create the ulcer, but it lowers your immune system so the bad bacteria comes to your stomach line or wherever it may be and start tearing it apart. So say you end up, you heard that you're going to lose your job, and all of a sudden because why do you say that? Because your friends just lost their job and they say that you're next. So you're stressing out. You don't want to go to work because you don't want to talk to the boss. So you end up going to the hospital because you have an ulcer. You're in the hospital, right? And you're going, oh my God. So what are you doing? You're saying over and over again, repeating, repetition. Oh my God, I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to lose my job. Throughout your day, you're thinking, I'm going to lose my job. Expectancy, because your two friends got fired. So now you're expecting to get fired. Right. And then meaning. What does it mean, meaning? Ooh. Meaning is that, okay, if I lose my job, I lose my house, I can't feed my kids, I lose my wife, or whatever the case may be. So you have this perfect storm going on of repeating, of expecting, and of putting this meaning to it of how important it is for this not to happen. And you end up with an ulcer, and you're in the hospital. Oh, boy. Well, this is the irony of it all. This is how it's all just an illusion. Is here all of a sudden now you come back you go out of the hospital, you reluctantly go to work, and all of a sudden your boss comes and say, listen, I need to give you a raise because I had to let 2 other people go, and here's the promotion in a corner office. And you're like, whoa.
With all the windows.
With all the windows, yeah. So you're like, what just happened? I literally, my thinking, my intention put me in the hospital thinking something that wasn't even reality. It was just the opposite of it, actually.
Yeah.
How many times that happens to people on a given day? Not so much in that scenario, but on those little things. But the good news is this. That's easy to believe and understand, right? But imagine if you were able to do this in positive thinking. Because the placebo effect is just as effective as a nocebo effect.
Yeah, because the subconscious believes anything it hears.
Absolutely. Right? It only lives in the present moment.
And lives in the present moment, yeah. So if you're taking all that energy and visualizing and believing, expecting something fabulous, like you're going to win the lottery or some fabulous thing, some big windfall of money is going to come that the universe is just going to give you from any source. And I've always learned to say, hey, I'll take it from any source, not to get stuck on any particular source. It'll fly in. And another thing, too, that I've noticed that has worked for me very well on this path, because I've been on this path of learning to manifest for many years. I became a student, began to study, is that, and this is one that I love about that Esther Hicks and Lynn Grabhorn talk about. Abraham and Lynn Grabhorn have often said too. She talks about having a valve. If it's a high vibration to be happy, to feel good, to be in thanksgiving, appreciation, and gratitude. So when you're in those high vibrations, it's a high energy, and everything is energy. So when you're feeling good and happy, all these wonderful things, if you've ever noticed it, start just showing up in your life. You know?
See, that's the whole key. You hit on such an important part of the manifestation process, is connecting the dots. And that's what we teach a lot of kids too with our Imaginative program. When you could connect the dots, that thoughts come first, your reality or experience comes second. And then you're kind of getting it then. Most of us we grow up in a world where we think our reality creates our experiences, right?
Right.
Or, our reality creates our thoughts and beliefs. And it's actually just the opposite, from my understanding, and also from my experiences, and from science supports it, right?
Right.
So here it is, our thoughts creates our experiences. And you connect the dot, and you start seeing little things like that appearing in your life based on your previous thought or feeling.
Yes.
That's when you start getting that empowerment. That's when you start realizing, oh my God, what if this is true? What if how I think, negatively or positively, starts attracting what I experience in my life? What if that is true?
And it works. It's working.
You can experiment it.
Yeah.
Yes, you can experiment that. Not only on our site, you can experiment in your own head and with people and experiences. I do it all the time,
I do too. And, and also then if we don't realize sometimes, like, I remember one example Lynn would say, she said, if you have one little thing that gets you upset, like, oh, wow, the pizza man brought me the wrong pizza. He brought one without mushrooms. He brought one without onions. I'm mad. And you just, all of a sudden, you're mad. You're angry. That's a lower vibration. It lowers your vibration. And all of a sudden, the next thing you know, the washing machine overflows. The next thing you know, you have something else crazy that happens.
Yeah,
you got all flat tires. All these things will happen. And that's why she would say, find out what's going on and flip switch it to a happy feeling.
Yes, and I think it has to be done.
Lift your vibration.
Yes.
Right? And then it changes back to the good stuff.
It seems simple, right? But I think we have to be careful too sometimes where we don't get caught up into this I call denial-based positive thinking, where a lot of times I don't want to think about that because I don't want to attract it in my life.
Right.
Often what that is being driven by or led by or a catalyst is fear. So when fear's driving that thought to think positive and deny what potentially your reality you're dealing with, that's when I think your law of attraction is going to give you really what you want is more of that negative reality because the fear it's feeding the fear. It's dealing with the fear as the initiative. That's the initiate that wants that to create it. So you have to be very careful about just going positive and avoiding that. You gotta have that feeling of, I know how the universe works. It's a beautiful universe. It's unconditional love. No matter all the crazy stuff going on in the world, this is how the universe really is, right? And and truly feel that and know that motivation is coming from love, not from fear. And when you are in that sync, that's exactly what you need to do. So I think that's interesting. So
yeah, and I just want to say this. I just got a little drink of water. Okay, yeah, and here's the thing that I like too is that what I've learned too over this journey is to get to really know your real thoughts and your real feelings. Get in touch with your real feelings because you've got to be able to recognize
self-honesty,
a self-honest, real feeling, good feeling or a negative feeling. Am I just putting peanut butter over the bad one? I'm not really clearing it. I'm not really lifting it. Right. And that way, when you get into that aspect that you can really recognize your true feelings, then you can lift those feelings up and switch them. And I have a lot of little things that I'll do with that where I'll start to think about wonderful things and happy and gratitude and appreciation. If we just stop and appreciate 3 things in our lives that we might not realize, like, wow, you know what? I really do drive a wonderful car. Wow, I have these wonderful friends.
And all of a sudden the Bugatti comes your way, right?
Exactly. Putting you in that gratitude. Wow, it works. And the appreciation. I love it.
Are you going to take us through break here?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I sure am. And I'm appreciating this so much. We're going to be right back. So if you please stay tuned. I know you will because we're going to be right back with a lot more of Tim Ray right here on Wake Up America with Kristina Lynn. We'll be right back. Hi, I'm Kristina Lynn, your host of Wake Up America with Kristina Lynn, right here on WNN Radio on Monday nights at 7:30 p.m. Be sure and tune in for cutting-edge guests and hot topics of the day. We're going to give you the real news and what's really going on. So be sure again and tune in to Wake Up America with Kristina Lynn, right here Monday nights, 7:30 p.m. on WNN. We are back. I'm more of a person that would like to manifest. And, of course, I'm Kristina Lynn. We're back on Wake Up America with Tim Ray, the United Intentions Foundation. He is the creator and originator of this amazing foundation. And as a matter of fact, I want to talk a little bit more about the children's outreach and what you're doing with young people, because I just feel it is so cool. I often think to myself, what if I had gotten into law of attraction and positive intentions and positive intending as a child? Oh my gosh, we would have those Bugattis. We'd have probably a fleet of them.
We probably wouldn't even have Bugattis. We'd be flying. We'd probably be flying around like Neo does, in the Matrix. You don't even need cars anymore.
Oh, even better. I love it.
We'd be communicating telepathically. We wouldn't need all this AI and technology because they're understanding the power of source and within themselves and outside of themselves, and because that's what it all leads to.
Well, we could be popping into other dimensions with that.
Now we're going dimensional now. Love it.
So multidimensional.
Multidimensional.
Right?
We are multidimensional beings, even though in a 5th century limited illusion.
Yeah.
So I love the Imagine If program. Thanks for asking about that.
Yes.
Jennifer and I were working on a program years ago, and we just had a show just on it today, which we'll use as our kind of staging point. But it's basically showing children from 1st grade to 12th through a socio-emotional learning program, and that's just it's cross-curriculum, so it can be used in any subject, science, math, PE, whatever it may be, because you're showing people a mindset. You're giving them a mindset how to handle whatever they need to handle, and it's all about showing them how their thoughts basically create their reality. They change their perception, they change their experience.
Wow.
And so and it's done in a very quick module where the teachers get taught on it, and it can be laid out in public, private, home schools, which we already have in now, and we're rolling them out hopefully in California very soon. In fact, we're going to the Bahamas. I keep saying Jamaica. We're going to the Bahamas next week for a week, and we'll be at a CEO conference, and we'll be actually sharing this with international diplomats who may want to utilize them in the other countries. And because tell me, isn't it more important to give somebody the ability to know how to fish than just give them a fish for the day?
Oh, absolutely.
Right. So this is the whole. This is what it's all about, right? Let me fix that for you.
Yeah.
This is what it's all about, and I think that because of the Imagine If program, that is really, I think, revolutionizing our education system. Why it's so important? Because in school now, it's just it's memorize and repeat. Memorize and repeat. Critical thinking is not there anymore, and it's lost.
Oh, yeah, that needs to be changed.
Well, and the only way you're going to change it, really, I think, from within, unless you have this breakdown of the system, which may or may not happen. But the teachers are so conditioned now just to test and to have the kids just memorize, repeat, and you can't learn that way. It's not critical thinking. You have kids coming out who really don't know how to handle life or handle any circumstances. They don't have a mindset. So to me, the Imagine If program is so critical now, more so than ever before, and why the foundation is one of the number one focuses right now of getting the message out.
Can you imagine with us starting with 5 and 6 year old children in third world countries?
Oh yeah.
And but they would be saying, "Hey, we're all going to get fed.
Yeah.
Guess what? We're going to have clean water."
Yeah.
So I think that's something that definitely needs to be internationally as an outreach. I'll help you with that.
Oh, listen, wonderful. Seriously, this is a big deal, and a lot of people who really know and hear it, and getting the message out is always not easy, especially when you're not a part of the mainstream media club. As what we're doing, Kristina, as you know, as we talk about often, is that we're creating our own mainstream media.
We're alternative media.
Yeah, but we're not going to be alternative. We're going to be the mainstream.
But I was going to say that is now shifting. So that we've been labeled that for quite a while, because I've been doing this since the 80s. But that is shifting. That we are the new mainstream.
Yes.
Put it here, partner. Yeah. The new mainstream. So look out. And I feel also for education, that's an important piece of the new future mainstream.
It stops the bleeding.
Education.
It stops the bleeding when you're able to reach your kids and you empower them with their own thoughts and beliefs to change the world how they choose to want to see it, not by manifesting other people's intentions, the media, the entertainment industry, crazy, poor teachers who are just, beaten down on how to only teach them, repeat and remember. So you have to really understand that every time you watch the news, and if you incorporate that belief system, what the news saying is true, and you bring it into your own belief system, then you're going to manifest that intention for them. So the days of manifesting intentions for other people have to be over. You got to claim that power yourself. Like, I don't watch the news anymore. When I wake up, I create Tim Ray news.
Yeah,
Tim Ray news, Tim Ray weather. Tim Ray's weather is going to be, beautiful sunny day.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to be doing this, and seriously,
sign me up. I like that weather.
That's that. No chemtrails.
No chemtrails. Yes, all right.
But that's what I love to do and understand how the power of intention is so critical that you claim, and when you become empowered by understanding your beliefs and your feelings and how that you create your reality, you can't play the victim role anymore, Kristina.
Yeah, that's right.
You
You're
can't.
right
That's
about
done.
that.
You can't. It can't happen. All the bad that happens to you, you got to take responsibility for it. All the good that happens to you, you got to take responsibility for it.
That's right. So it's a whole different ball game.
Absolutely.
This is so exciting. Well, now I tell you, and I can see also just as we talk a little bit more about the schools and the children, you know, as a young child, I could see where they are even more open to this. You know, because again, they're 6 and they're 7 years old. You're catching them in time to change those mindsets.
Yeah, and they're so open-minded, and they're so much closer to spirit, in my opinion, source, whatever you want to call it, because they haven't been tainted by the world yet. You know.
Yeah, exactly. So I could see where it's even easier.
Yeah.
Because some adults have to kind of unlearn certain things.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and change and shift those old habits.
Yeah.
And sometimes what I'll do is, if I'm starting to, you know, visualize something that's not very positive or that I want to get rid of, if it keeps popping in my mind, I'll visualize a red cancel right over my forehead. And that's like a cancel, like you see on a cancel check on the thought. So I'll just say, okay, on that thought, cancel. My friends tease me because I'll often say, they'll say something negative, and I'll say, wait, words are things.
Yeah.
And then I'll say, oops, cancel. Don't say that. Cancel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, Esther Hicks talks about, whoop, I lost our sound there, Jesse. Oh, there you go. I'm back again.
All right.
Esther Hicks talks about that, that, you know, takes 17 seconds to attract a like-minded thought, 68 seconds to manifest that like-minded thought if it's impure thought. So if you're thinking negatively for a period of time, and you're going past 17 seconds, you're going to find like-minded thoughts to match that frequency vibration. This is what Einstein talks about. The reality you want to experience, you match the frequency of that reality, and that's what you'll experience. It's that simple. It's quantum. It's physics. But at the same time, we don't even realize this, that thoughts, like you said, thoughts are things, but more specifically, you're absolutely right. Thoughts are actual physical properties. There's physical properties, scientific properties to a certain type of thought. A positive thought has a wave formation that's much faster frequency, and a negative thought has a much longer frequency. And so they actually affect our body, our DNA differently based on the type of thought. Same thing as outside of ourselves. My thoughts affect you and affect everybody in this room, you know?
Right.
Sorry, guys. I didn't mean to, you know, do that on a daily basis, but, you know, everyone's thoughts affect everybody on a daily basis.
That's right.
It's a physical property. It's a physical experience in this three-dimensional world that we have to be aware of and to be accounted for because, you know, and no one teaches that. We don't learn that in school. We learn math and physics, and which is good, but we learn, you know, algebra, which is probably good. But I mean, there's a certain level of the social emotional learning that we should really understand and be taught.
I agree.
You know,
we need to be learning these things that are life. You know, life enhancing lessons are so much more important, and that's why I feel that, you know, changing curriculum is so important because you know, what is our future? It is our young people. It is the youth of America, the youth of the world, and we want to help them have these tools. Like you say, we're teaching them how to fish.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Not just handing them over a fish.
I know, right?
Yeah, so I mean, boy, would I have loved to have had that when I was a child. And now we're going to be able to do that. Now, you know, the children that are being born now, too, some of them are called crystal children. Some of them are called indigos because they're very special. They're already, I feel, very highly evolved and
they would probably
so
eat
bright.
this information up at that. If our education system was putting out this type of information, they would probably start glowing.
Oh, yeah, they would glow. They would glow. You're right. And, you know, that's something that with Wake Up America, one thing I always talk about is that we do need to wake up and be aware. Because, you know, unfortunately, there are schools with some curriculums that are actually, unfortunately, dumbing down. And we want to stop that. It doesn't need to happen.
The dumbing down is all because of the reducing the critical thinking, because they're just focusing on, like I said earlier, over and over again. I'm going to repeat it because it needs to be heard, and people, teachers, you need to wake up to this too. It's all about remembering, retention, and then repeating. Retention, repeat, retention, repeat.
Yeah.
You can't be a critical thinker if that's all you're teaching.
Rote. Oh, I got to study and just repeat it back for my test so I get good scores.
You got to ask people to ask the question, why? Ask that one question, why, and your whole world will open up.
That's so true. And, you know, I was a teacher when I first got out of college. And another thing that I'm a big supporter of is being a teacher. That was the hardest I ever worked in my life. And it was the least money that I probably have ever made too. And I have to say, we need to be paying our teachers more money.
Well, yeah.
Because that way, because you know what, every teacher when I taught back after college, late 70s, the best teachers, every one of them left and went into something else. You know, I went into broadcasting.
Yeah.
And it was so unfortunate. I said, look at all these great teachers. And you know what? they were like, hey, we've all gotten offers to make more money. So to really keep the passionate, great teachers, and they're out there, we need to pay them what they deserve.
I'll go a step further than that, because I think you'd be throwing money away. Honestly, you need to get the government out of our teaching systems right now.
Yay.
Because the government's just going to take that money and utilize it the way they think, and the teachers are the last ones that trickle it down to. If you start getting the government, I mean, the education government, this seems a little heavy, but to me, I don't think so at all. We only had the Department of Education since 1980, since Carter, right?
Right.
So prior to that, people were learning. The fact is this: if you do polls, and they've done studies, the kids this generation now are actually dumber statistically on scores than ever before, for the first time ever in our generation. So if this is the government education system that we have incorporated since the 1980s, and this is the end result of it, then guess what? You don't have to be a brain surgeon. You don't have to be a political or a politician, whatever. You just look at the end result as a scientist, whatever. Stop it. Get the government out. Let it become privatized, or let your local governments handle the education system.
Yeah, privatized and local.
And then watch everything change. And that you have to have that competition. So right now, the more money they throw into it, it's just waste. It's a waste.
I agree.
You got to fundamentally change that structure. And to me, that would be one of my solutions. Or if you don't do that, implement the Imagine If program.
I love it. Well, that needs to be a part of it for sure.
Yeah, and people could go to imagineifprogram.org, imagineifprogram.org, check it out, talk to Jennifer, and she'll get it into your school system and start changing it from within if that's our only choice at this point, if you can't get the government out of our school system and in our minds of our children.
Oh, but I agree with you 100%. And, I just want to say one example of that is that back in our founding fathers' times, the times of Thomas Jefferson, if you read his writings, there's so many people now, children, and even, high school seniors that cannot really even comprehend what he was writing about. And if you look at Common Sense, the little pamphlet that changed our world and changed our country and helped to create America, Common Sense, men, women, and children, they were all reading it. They all understood it. And unfortunately, nowadays, they did a little test on that, and 80-90% of even high school seniors could not comprehend and understand Common Sense. So we need to go local and privatize. I couldn't agree with you more.
Common sense is not so common.
Yeah, so we want to just say, hey, parents, wake up, make sure that your children are getting the education they deserve, and let's help them think outside of the box. Let's help them be the individuals, the creators, and the creative thinkers that they're meant to be, with positive intentions and law of attraction. So I could just keep talking to you all day. This is amazing. I tell you what, we want to invite Tim. I'm going to make this a double show, as I often do with some of my most amazing guests that I cannot fit everything in this short 30 minutes. So stay tuned, because we're going to have another part 2 with the amazing Tim Ray of United Intentions Foundation. So thanks again for tuning in to another Wake Up America with Kristina Lynn. We are so happy to be here. And remember, the motto that we live by here at Wake Up America is it only takes one person to change the world, and that's you. So go for it. You deserve it. And tune in next week. In the meantime, do something nice for someone special this week. Be kind, and we'll see you next week. Well, that's about all we have time for tonight. But I want to thank you all for listening. We've got a fantastic and really loyal audience that wants to wake up. Wake Up America is your show. Be sure and tune in next week right here at 6 o'clock on WNN with me, Kristina Lynn, and with some of the most outspoken and outstanding guests that you can ever hear on radio. Until then, just reach out to wakeupamerica.com. Let me know what you think. We want to hear your comments, and we want to make sure and have you come join us on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks again. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week.